Have you ever felt a little guilty for loving your own company, like the world is shouting, go out, be social, be seen, and you're just happy to be in your own head, in your own room, in your own little universe of thoughts and ideas? If that's you, this video is for you. We're told that preferring quiet means you're boring, antisocial, or scared of life. But what if that's completely wrong? What if being an introvert, someone who thinks deeply, feels intensely, and creates more than they perform, is actually a strength? What if the people who enjoy solitude, who like their room, their notebooks, their art, their ideas, are some of the deepest thinkers and most creative minds around? In this video, we're going to pull apart the stereotype of the awkward introvert and look at what's really going on inside a quiet person. We'll talk about inner peace, creativity, intelligence, and why some of the bravest decisions you make might happen in silence, not under a spotlight. So if you've ever felt too quiet, too intense, or too much in your head, stay with me. By the end, I hope you'll see your introverted, deep-thinking, creative side not as a flaw to fix, but as a way of being to understand, protect, and actually be proud of. Introvert does not mean empty. It means your inner world is full. When most people hear introvert, they picture someone hiding from life, shy, awkward, low confidence, antisocial. But that image is shallow. It completely ignores what's happening on the inside. An introvert isn't just someone who doesn't go out much. An introvert is someone whose inner world is rich enough that they don't constantly need the outside world to feel alive. Most of us are trained to chase stimulation, new events, new people, new notifications, new drama. The moment things get quiet, a lot of people feel restless, even anxious. Silence feels like a threat. Stillness feels like I'm missing out. Now compare that to the person who can sit in their room, in comfortable clothes, drink something warm, read, write, sketch, think, or just exist with their own thoughts, and feel okay, maybe even feel good. That is not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of a nervous system that isn't addicted to noise. Introversion often means this: outside is optional, inside is enough. Your room, your desk, your notebook, your screen, they're not just physical spaces, they're mental studios. They're where you can hear yourself clearly, without everyone else's opinions pounding on your brain. They're where your attention, your energy, and your sense of self aren't constantly pulled in 10 directions. In a loud, fast world, that's powerful, because when you're always on, always performing, always surrounded by people, it's hard to know what you actually think and feel. You start reacting instead of reflecting. You shape yourself around other people's expectations instead of your own inner truth. Introverts step out of that loop. When you choose quiet, you're not just saying no to the crowd. You're saying yes to your own pace, to your own rhythm, to your own mind. You're saying, I don't need to prove that I'm fun or loud to be real. I'm allowed to be with myself. Alone versus lonely, the quiet difference. Here's where people get it wrong. If you spend a lot of time alone, you must be lonely or broken. But there's a huge difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness is, I don't want to be with myself, but I have no one else. Solitude is, I'm okay being with myself, and I'm choosing that right now. Many introverts live in solitude, not loneliness. They may have friends, relationships, and a social life. They just don't need constant interaction to feel valid. They don't measure their worth by how many plans they have or how many people want their attention. On the surface, it looks like they don't go out much. Underneath, it's often, I don't want to abandon myself just to fit in. Because let's be honest, a lot of social situations aren't about connection. They're about distraction, avoiding emotions, avoiding hard questions, blending in so you don't stand out. A deep-thinking introvert often chooses the opposite. They sit with their thoughts. They notice their emotions. They become familiar with their own fears, desires, and contradictions. They journal. They replay conversations and think, why did that bother me? Or what did I really want to say? From the outside, it looks like doing nothing. On the inside, there's a whole universe moving. Another misunderstood part of being an introvert is energy. Crowds, noise, small talk. All of that drains certain people fast. Some recharge instantly. Others feel like their battery has been ripped out after a few hours. Introverts notice that battery. They feel the tight shoulders after a long day of interaction, the fuzzy brain, the urge to just shut everything off. And instead of forcing themselves to keep going just to look normal, they respect that signal and pull back. That's not cowardice, that's self-respect. It takes courage to say, I'm leaving early when everyone else is yelling, stay! It takes courage to choose rest over approval and peace over performance. Introversion is deeply tied to boundaries. When you're content with your own company, you're less tempted to say yes to everything. You're not as vulnerable to pressure like, come on, it'll be fun, when you already feel okay as you are. You value your time. You guard it. You know a quiet evening can be more nourishing than another noisy night you'll forget. So you become selective. Which invitations you accept, who gets access to your attention, what type of conversations you tolerate. People might call you picky or boring, but underneath it's really, I refuse to trade my peace for shallow experiences. Let's talk about something most people never name, the relationship you have with yourself. For a lot of introverts, solitude is where that relationship actually grows. When you come home, you're not just entering a room, you're returning to yourself. Outside, you play roles. The responsible one, the funny one, the put-together one. Even if you're honest, there's still a subtle tension, an awareness of being watched and measured. At home, that tension drops. You're not on for anyone. You're not trying to impress, entertain, or prove. You're just there with your messy thoughts, weird habits, random moods, and unedited self. For many people, that's uncomfortable. For a deep-thinking introvert, that's where things start to feel true. A quiet friendship with yourself begins with one simple shift. You stop trying to escape your own mind all the time. A lot of people run from themselves with constant plans, constant scrolling, constant background noise, constant company. Anything to avoid being alone with their thoughts. Now think of someone who can sit in their room with no big plan, no crowd, no performance, and not feel trapped. Maybe they cook, stare out the window, write, draw, read, think, or let their mind wander. That ability to sit with yourself without needing to escape is a huge sign of inner trust. You're basically saying, I can be with you. You're not unbearable. I'm not my enemy. That's what real friendship is. I'm willing to spend time with you, even when nothing special is happening. Introverts do that with themselves, often without naming it. Now let's talk about introverts as creators and deep thinkers. There's a quiet truth. Just because you don't see someone out there doesn't mean nothing is happening. A lot is happening. It's just happening in their mind. From the outside, it looks like someone sitting on a bed, at a desk, on a couch, On the inside, entire worlds are forming. When you spend a lot of time in quiet, you have access to something rare, uninterrupted mental space, no endless small talk, no constant reacting, no need to perform every 5 minutes. In that silence, your thoughts aren't chopped into fragments. They can stretch, loop back, connect, and deepen. That's where deep thinking starts, not in noise, but in space. When your mind isn't busy defending itself or impressing people, it starts to wander. Why do I really feel this way? What if I did things differently? What does this actually mean? Is there a better way? It doesn't look dramatic, just you staring out of a window. But inside, you're connecting dots, solving problems, translating feelings into ideas. That's deep thinking, staying with a thought long enough to reach the truth under it. Creativity lives in that same space. Most creative work isn't a lightning bolt. It's slow, repetitive, private. It needs boredom. It needs long stretches where nothing impressive is happening on the outside. Introverts naturally give themselves those stretches. At home, with fewer interruptions, your brain can play. You write one sentence, then another. You hum a tune that turns into a melody. You doodle until a character appears. You keep tweaking a design or idea until it finally feels right. It looks like just sitting there. It's actually the inner workshop of a creative mind. Let's talk about intelligence, not the arrogant kind, but the way a mind works. Many introverts have a very active inner life. Their thoughts don't stop when the room is quiet. That's when they start. They overanalyze, notice tiny shifts in tone, body language, mood, replay conversations, see patterns and hidden meanings. The loudest people in the room get labeled confident, smart, charismatic. The quiet person who goes home early gets labeled shy or weird. But that quiet person might go home and mentally map the entire evening. Why did everyone agree with something that felt wrong? What changed after that one comment? Why did I feel drained around that person? That's not nothing. That's social insight. That's pattern recognition. That's emotional and intellectual processing most people never do. Then, when they're finally alone, they turn those insights into something. A decision about who they want to be around, a piece of writing or art, a new idea for their work or life, a clearer understanding of themselves. They're not the loudest in the group, but they're often the clearest minded once the noise stops. In our culture, confidence is often confused with volume. We're told, confidence is talking the most. Confidence is always being seen. Confidence is posting everything. So when an introvert stays home or leaves early, people assume insecure, low self-esteem, afraid. But real confidence isn't about being loud. Real confidence is alignment. Your actions match your truth. For an introvert, confidence can look like saying no to plans because you're exhausted, not making excuses. Leaving early instead of forcing yourself to push through just to look normal. Admitting, I'd rather read, create, or rest without apologizing. Not posting your life just to prove you have one. That's not weakness. That's inner strength. Success is also sold to us as something loud and crowded. Full calendar, full room, full inbox. But another kind of success is quieter. A calm nervous system. Work that feels meaningful. Enough time to think your own thoughts, not needing to escape your life every weekend. Many introverts aren't doing nothing at home. They're slowly mastering a skill, building a project in the background, reading, learning, connecting ideas, designing a life that fits their mind and heart, not just their public image and connection. Real connection has never been about numbers. You can be surrounded by people and feel invisible. You can sit with one person in a quiet room and feel completely seen. Introverts often prefer the second kind. Fewer friendships, deeper honesty, fewer conversations, more truth, less performance, more presence. They may look distant because they don't open up to everyone. In reality, they're saving their emotional energy for the people who feel safe and real. So maybe you've been told you're too quiet, that you think too much, that you're always at home. Maybe you've wondered, what's wrong with me? After everything we've walked through, maybe you can see it differently. Being introverted doesn't mean you're weak or broken. It doesn't mean you're wasting your life. It might mean your life is happening in a deeper layer, inside your thoughts, your feelings, your imagination. You're someone who can be with yourself. You don't need constant noise to feel alive. You think deeply, feel deeply, and choose carefully. You're not running from the world. You're just not willing to lose yourself in it. Maybe your room, your notebook, your sketch app, your little corner of the world, that's where your real work is happening, where ideas form, where self-respect grows, where your nervous system is calm enough for you to hear your own mind clearly. That isn't nothing. That's the foundation of everything. From that quiet place inside you, you build a more honest relationship with yourself. You create things that actually matter to you. You choose connections that are real, not just convenient. You define success by how your soul feels, not just how your life looks. So if you've ever felt guilty for loving solitude, remember this. There is nothing small about choosing depth in a shallow world. There is nothing cowardly about protecting your energy. There is nothing loser about wanting meaning instead of constant distraction. Your solitude is not a prison. It's a workshop, a sanctuary, a mirror. It's where you meet yourself again and again and slowly learn to stay. If being an introvert, a deep thinker, a creative mind means your life is a little quieter on the outside, but richer on the inside, that isn't something to hide. That's a quiet badge of honor.